I wanted to do a video where I talked about what I last read, what I'm reading now, and what is up next. So if you've seen some of my previous videos, you probably saw that I just wrapped up Wuthering Heights. This book was so good. I read it because of the new movie coming out, and I watched a lot of the other movie versions, which I made other videos on. But this book was really so good, and if you have any desire to read this, or if you liked the new movie, I definitely recommend reading this. It is so good. I did like the new movie. I won't hate on it too much, but I do think the book is like way better. So if you have any interest at all, I definitely recommend reading this because it's so good. And it's just one of those books that after you read it, like it'll stick with you. It'll stick around in your mind. It's hard to leave Wuthering Heights, and it's hard to want to leave Wuthering Heights, even though it's like super dark and bleak. I don't know. I just find my mind like still pondering on like, well, what did really happen, you know, when Heathcliff left all those years, or things like that. I just find myself still asking questions about this book, and I think that's what makes it so good. And I completely understand why it's a staple classic book. And next up, this is what I'm currently reading. I actually got this book for Christmas this past year because it sounded really interesting, and I'm still sticking with those dark book themes, and that is the book Monstrilio. I hope I'm saying that correctly. This book's basically about a family whose son died, and the mom cuts out a piece of his lung, and eventually it kind of grows into this monster that they end up kind of also treating like their son. I will say this book started off really strong, and I've seen so many people hype it up and say it's so good. Each section of the book is split into different people's perspectives. There's 4 main characters that the perspectives change from over the book. After Magos, the mom's perspective, ended, I found that it's sort of just kind of started to go downhill from there. I'm not fully done. I have like a little bit left, and I'm trying to be open-minded. I just find that this book is not really like giving me what I thought it would. Maybe I had really bad expectations for this book, but I just find it's not the most satisfying read. Unfortunately, I really wanted to like this book, and I'm just finding it kind of disappointing. I hate to say it. Like I said, it started off really strong, and I just found it kind of start to dwindle. I feel like Magos is probably like the most interesting character. Not that she's necessarily like a good person per se, I just feel like her personality is probably like the most interesting out of all the other characters, and once hers ended, it just kind of, I don't know, it tapered off a little bit for me. But I'm also kind of at a point where I'm so close to the end where I'm like, I don't really know like how this is gonna wrap up, and I'm kind of worried that it's not gonna end in a super satisfying way. So I'm hoping it gets better. I'm not having high hopes for this. I think unfortunately I might have to say this is a little overhyped. I'm trying to enjoy it for what it is, but it's just not doing it for me. I think also it doesn't help probably coming off of something so strong like Wuthering Heights to like that is just hard transition maybe too. And next up, I actually just got the audiobook to this from Libby, and I'm gonna do some immersive reading with this one, but I'm gonna take my time with it, and that is Say Nothing. This is about the troubles in Northern Ireland. They also made a series about this story on like Hulu, and I watched it late last year, and it was so good. And so I had to read the book. It's just, it's so interesting. I love like historical stuff like this. Is just so good, and I need to read more nonfiction, so I thought this would be a good place to start. And I don't know, maybe this is very American of me, but I was like, oh, I could like read it and like going into March and stuff because like St. Patrick's Day, and I'm like, that's so American of me. But I have this book, and then I have another one called Trespasses. That's also, it's a fictional story about a lady who I think owns a bar in that time period, like during the Troubles in Northern Ireland. I don't know why I have such a hard time saying Ireland. Ireland. But yeah, so I was kind of thinking I was gonna read this and then maybe read Trespasses as kind of like my Irish month for St. Patty's Day. Like I said, very American of me, but anyway, I know also this is very like bleak. I'm not trying to like make light of it. It's very bleak story about like the IRA, and specifically about this one lady who was kidnapped and murdered by the IRA. So, and then I've sort of been debating like which classic specifically I wanted to go for next. I was kind of debating between maybe Jane Eyre, because sticking with the Brontë sisters vibe. And then I also got the Picture of Dorian Gray from Barnes & Noble the other day, which is another book that people say like, oh, if you like Wuthering Heights, you might like this too as a classic. And I will read those at some point. I am committed to reading those. But I was like, I feel like as much as I loved Wuthering Heights, I feel like I need something a little bit lighter going into spring and summer. So I thought maybe I would change the pace and go with Emma by Jane Austen. I also realized I have Hamnet on hold at the library. I need to figure out what I'm doing reading wise because I'm like all over the place right now. This might wait a little while, like this might wait till more when I'm more in March. But I think this is definitely like one of the next classics I'm gonna go for in my reading journey. I've never read anything Jane Austen, and I asked my husband which book should I start with, and he said Emma is a good place to start. So thinking I'm gonna read this, see how it goes. Like I said, never read Jane Austen, but I know people really love her work, obviously. So yeah, I'm excited to start my Jane Austen journey. But yeah, that was my last now next with what I'm reading. Let me know in the comments what your last now next reads are. Follow me also on Instagram because I post a lot of like shorter videos of me talking about books on there, and it'll be linked below. And subscribe, and thanks for watching this video. I'll see you next time. Bye.